What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bit by Bit, and today I want to talk a little bit about how Italy could be having that reemergence of the great Italian number 9. I'm sorry, I know I haven't been posting a lot recently. I just got back to school a couple of weeks ago. I'm just trying to get back into the stride of things. Hopefully I can post more, and hopefully I can just put up more stuff for you guys. So Atalanta has kind of been on the slippery slope. They haven't been winning much in the Serie A, and they just tied to Calgary because today is Saturday, the 15th of February. But last week, I'm going to talk about how Moise Kean and Mateo Retegui absolutely tore up the Serie A. Moise Kean had a brace against Inter on last Thursday, and I know Monday they lost to them 2-1, even though Fiorentina won on Thursday 3-0. It's difficult because Inter is a team who they won't lose like that twice, especially when you go to their home turf, the San Siro. They're not going to lose in that fashion twice in a row against Fiorentina, who Fiorentina doesn't have nearly as much money as Inter. So it was amazing to see that they're sitting in 6th, and they had that amazing game, an amazing upset game on Thursday against Inter. You see Moise Kean had that brace against Inter, and he was just in that perfect position. He played kind of the best person I could compare him to in the past for Italy would be Amaro Balotelli, or he almost resembles a Di Natale in a way because he has that pace and that flair like Mario Balotelli did in his prime, and he has that amazing striking, which is something that he struggled with over the past couple of years. He hasn't been scoring nearly as much as he is now. I know in his last 19 games, he was at 4 or 5 goals last year. Now he's at 15 goals in the next 20 games, and it's amazing to see the reemergence of Moise Kean. And then, of course, Mateo Retegui on Saturday against Verona, Saturday of last week, had to one-up Moise Kean with a hat-trick in the first half of the game. It was a great bounce back for them, even though today they tied Calgary 0-0. Emerson played amazing that game as well. He had a goal, and then Retegui had a 4th goal in that second half right in the beginning. And a lot of people have been talking in the Italian national team, can Retegui and Kean play together? And that's something that actually Luciano Spalletti brought up in a quote. Italian Football TV posted this. I'm gonna read it off to you guys, but people were discussing this. They're like, can they play together? Can we run that 3-5-2 like the majority of Serie A runs, especially Inter, which is the powerhouse of the Serie A? Can they run that 3-5-2 and have Moise Kean and Mateo Retegui up top? And Spalletti responded. He said Kean and Retegui can play together. We have a game coming in March. I'm not in Italy, but Luciano Spalletti had something to say to the Via Gazzetta about that. He said Kean is power mixed with technique. Before, his issue was finishing, and now he's perfected it. And he's completely right in that. Again, we talk about the last couple of seasons. He's been an amazing young talent, but he hasn't been able to find that club that he can progress in. And I'm finally glad he's breaking out in the Serie A on Fiorentina right now. He also said he also knows how to bring the ball into the opposing area by himself, which he learned when he was playing as a winger. His goal versus Genoa was a goal that Zlatan or CR7 would score. And again, if your national coach is comparing you to Zlatan or CR7, I think you're in a good place in his mind. Now, here's what he said about Retegui. He said Retegui is a sniper, but he's improved a lot in involving himself and playing with the team. So I think they can play together because, yes, they're both strikers and they both play in the same position, but they play the position completely differently. We have Mateo Retegui, who is that traditional number 9, like a Holland. He doesn't drop back as much. So you have Mateo Retegui, that traditional striker who will sit up top. A lot of his heat map, he's very much in the 18-yard box. That's where his heat is, and he very rarely drops back or pushes out wide to help with the team in the build-up. But the opposite with Moise Kean, he drops back, he pushes wide on both left and right sides. They play the position completely differently, and Moise Kean likes to get the ball from the halfway line and dribble it up and bring the attack up. I think they could play perfectly together. And the end of the quote, he says, for Mateo Retegui, he says, will they play together up front versus Germany in March is what we're questioning. It is more than likely to happen during the match, but not from the start. So he's confirmed that he wants them to play together. He will figure out a way for them to play together, but they won't start, which is, it's completely understandable. It's completely new territory that we're going into, trying to have those two players play together, because in the beginning of the season, we knew Mateo Retegui could play like that because he played very well in Genoa, but Genoa wasn't a top side that was finding him the right passes. Because the way I talk about Holland is kind of the same manner which I talked about Mateo Retegui. Holland, if you're looking for the perfect striker, Holland is the perfect striker because of the way the striker position is supposed to be played. The striker position is not supposed to be drop back, connecting play, bringing up the build up. That's not what the striker is supposed to do. The striker is supposed to be in the right position at the right time inside the 18-yard box and find those goals. It doesn't matter how he finds those goals, as long as he does. That's the striker's job. And the striker is only as good as the people who play him the ball, just his team around him. And that's what I say about Holland, because when Haaland's on a bad spell, people are mad at Haaland, even though the whole City team isn't playing well. And when Haaland's not scoring, it was because De Bruyne was out, or there just wasn't a player in that midfield who could feed him the ball like Foden or De Bruyne. So I think it's really unfair when people say Haaland's not playing well. Haaland plays as well as the team plays. So I can say the same with Mateo Retegui. When he was on that Genoa side, which was a bottom half team, he wasn't getting the balls that he was meant to be given. And Mateo Retegui is getting those passes on Atalanta. He has players like Emerson to give him the ball. He has players like Bellanova, who has the highest amount of assists in the Serie A right now and playing in the right wing back position. So in this Atalanta side, he thrives. And when I talk about the reemergence of the Italian number 9, in the 2000s, when we had those great Italian strikers, someone who I can compare Mateo Retegui to is someone like a Luca Toni, who is very strong in the box, is in the right place at the right time, a very big aerial presence, just a big body in the box who you need to be scoring goals. That is Mateo Retegui. That is exactly what he does. And then I talked about it just a couple minutes ago, but Moise Kean is a striker who plays like Mario Balotelli or Di Natale, because he doesn't have as much foot skills as Balotelli, but he is flary in the way that he loves to get a good goal. And then Di Natale, he is also in the right place at the right time, and he loves to bring the ball up. So if I were to compare those two strikers, Retegui and Kean, to anybody in the golden era of strikers, I would choose those. So now the question is, how can that Italy team line up with those two strikers? Who will give those the best options, and who will fill out the rest of the team against Germany in March, and then in the USA in the World Cup next year, right? So Italian Football TV posted this at the end of their Luciano Spalletti quote, and I don't know how much I like this team. You have Mateo Retegui and Kean up at the top, which obviously that's what we're gonna want. We have Ricci, Tonali, and Barella in the midfield. We're keeping Tonali and we're keeping Barella because those are the two players that hustle the most on our team. They are given, they are locks in the midfield. Barella has been one of Italy and one of Inter's most consistent players for so many years, and Tonali, after you've seen this Nation League in the summer, 1000% he's a lock to play in this Italian squad. Now Ricci, he's interchangeable with Rovella because they play the same exact role, and it doesn't matter to me too much who plays, just who has the better chemistry with Tonali and Barella. And right now it's Ricci, but Rovella is playing really, really well on Lazio, and Lazio is a higher team than Torino, so we'll see where that happens. Di Marco on the left, he's the best left wing back, left back in the world, period. He is the most consistent throughout these past couple of years. He's on an Inter team that went to the final of the Champions League. He played amazing in it. DiMarco has been a lot more consistent than Teo Hernandez. Teo Hernandez also has off the pitch problems and always problems with coaching, and he's been benched just like Rafael Leao. So I'm giving DiMarco the edge every single day of the week. Cambiasso on the right, I think that's an amazing choice. You could also play Di Lorenzo there, but if you want a player who's purely there for the assist and to flank down that right side and play a higher role than a normal defender, a right wing back would, I would play Bellanova because he has been amazing on Atalanta and he's been getting assists. He's been doing everything on that right side. In the center back position, I think Italy went from having no options to so many options because all of a sudden these players been playing so consistently. Calafiori emerged on that Bologna side last year. He didn't really emerge last year. He's been playing good for a number of years, but people just started noticing how good he really is because of Bologna's team last year and because of what Thiago Motta did with that team. So Calafiori can play in that back three. Bastoni's a lock. Bastoni is one of the most consistent center backs in the world and one of the best on-ball defenders in the world. I would put Bastoni on the left. I know Calafiori and Bastoni are both lefties. I would put Bastoni on the left and Calafiori on the right. I'm sorry, Di Lorenzo, but you need to go to the bench. He probably won't get benched solely because the coach is Luciano Spalletti, and he coached that Napoli team 2 years ago and gave him that Scudetto, and Di Lorenzo was the captain of that team. So I don't think Di Lorenzo is going to get benched, but in my ideal world, I would have Di Lorenzo benched, or he would play the wingback position because I think we need Buongiorno in that middle. Buongiorno is a gladiator in the back, and having him in that back three with Bastoni and Calafiori, that is our best setup. And Buongiorno just came back from injury, and I already know he's going to be amazing. Buongiorno is to me at least, he is a younger version of Acerbi, and you can even start Acerbi in that center position. My only reasoning is Acerbi is getting old, even though he's been locking up every single amazing striker in the Champions League and in the Serie A. On Monday, when Fiorentina lost to Inter, he was the one who shut down Kean on those 1v1. When Inter played Man City, he was the one who was shutting down Haaland every single game. Acerbi has been the defender to shut down those key strikers. So I'd either play Acerbi or Buongiorno in that middle defender position, in that gladiator take-on position, and I would play Bastoni on the left and Calafiori on the right. I know Calafiori Calafiori is a lefty, so it'll be difficult for him, but he is a player who can adapt, and I'm sure he can play on that right side in the defense. Donnarumma in the keeper position is a given. He was our best player at the Euros along with Chiesa. Donnarumma has been Italy's best player for over 5 or 6 years. He might not play the best on PSG, but he is Italy's most consistent and best player on a game-to-game basis every time he puts that Azzurri shirt on. That would be my team. I would have Donnarumma in keep. I would have a Cherby or Buongiorno in that middle center back position. I'd have Bastoni out on the left, Calafiori out on the right. I'll have Bellanova on the right wing back position. Beretta, Ricci, Tonali in that midfield trio, or Rovella, it doesn't matter to me. DiMarco on that left, and then Retegui and Kean up top. That is the perfect Italy squad. If they're on form, they can beat any other country in the world. I hope you guys like my video. I hope you guys also see this reemergence of the Italian number 9 and see how good Mateo Retegui and Moise Kean are doing in the Serie A right now. Hopefully in the Conference League, Moise Kean can flourish and they can win the whole Conference League. That would be amazing. Hopefully Atalanta can step up the game in the Serie A again, become a great squad, find their rhythm, and do amazing in the Champions League as well, because they have a real shot in the Champions League as well. That is all for today. Thank you guys for listening. This was Bit by Bit, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.